Okay, so now I'm going to move on to this next slide. 3 strikes. So after junior high school, the amazing world of ditching class and going off to get high in the break with my friends in high school, my friends began to change. It was no longer cool to get stoned. In the 70s, everybody did it. I mean, everybody was a stoner. You had teachers that came in with their pullover, the Mexican pullover, blanket poncho thing, and wet from surfing that morning, and they were stoners. And they're like, all right, class, we're going to start, it was very common. I had a friend who received marijuana for Christmas. They stuck it in the tree with a pipe. He was in junior high school. I had another friend gave my brother a Superman weed, which was just shake that was soaked in what they used to call honey oil, which is the same thing today. But they would basically infuse the shake with honey oil. You smoke that like in a joint and get way high, and that was given to him by his father, who was hip. So it was people were very open, but then it started to lock down, so it got too open, and parents got embarrassed. So then we entered the world of 3 strikes, and this was after I got out of high school. So we're traveling across country in a VW bus, like we'd always done just about every summer. And I had to leave all my weed and pipes and everything behind, because now I'm terrified that if I drive into someplace like Texas or something and there's even one seed on me, I'm going to send my whole family to prison forever and ever fucking ever. And they see we're driving even though my dad's a chemist and a city employee, he's driving a Volkswagen bus through Texas to get to Indiana. You still got to be a good person. My dad was also not a big believer in seatbelts for many years because I grew up without using seatbelts. I had to learn how to use a seatbelt. It was annoying. Oh, God, this thing again. We didn't used to have seatbelts. I used to crawl all over the car. Things were different. Actually, I had a friend who was killed because she was riding in the back of a truck, so seatbelts are good. So 3 strikes, you're out, came along, and I was off partying and having a good time, so it wasn't necessarily affecting me because, we were still able to get together in our stoner group in this town and get a hold of weed, but then along with the weed, other shit started showing up, like fucking crank and crack and, other shit that people would invent, and they would try to, hey, I got this too. So, I mean, I'm not interested in that shit, and even though I did crank, I did crack, I did coke, I did all that shit. I just wasn't that into it. And plus, the people we hang out with were different to the stoner crowd. They were very selfish, and thank you very much, and I'll see you later, and no payback. It was not a good scene. So we just weren't into it, really. But I knew a lot of people that fell in. Power goes off just as I get going. Okay, so, now I'm a security guard, and I'm part of the drug war, and I'm completely indoctrinated, and I got kids coming to me and going, why do you enjoy ruining my life? And I'm like, I'm not here to ruin your life. I'm here to make sure that you stay on track and get your diploma, and don't get sidetracked by all of this. I'm not against marijuana use. I'm against you being distracted from your education by it. Or the gang activity that goes along with it, or the bravado, trying to show off for your friends, or to impress a girl, getting yourself in trouble, endangering yourself, your family situation, all this stuff. That's what I care about. It's not happening so that there can be a better future. I don't have to worry about, when I go out to my car 30 years from now, you carjacked me because now you're on the streets and you're desperate. And I should have helped you when I had my chance. So where the fuck I'm there. It sucked too, because I had to be like this mediator between, I'm a stoner, I'm doing this really difficult, sucky job. I had to take kids to the office, watch their hands to make sure they didn't ditch the weed. And if they did, pick it up and turn them in. And they were like, you're a bitch, you got me in trouble. And I'm like, dude, you know the rules. This is my job. You know, but this is full circle from being the kid that did all this myself. And I used to tell them, I used to be just like you. You don't believe me. None of them believed me. Everybody thought they were talking to some straight-laced old lady. I wore like this baseball cap, my hair up, and I had this sort of like kind of almost like camper militaristic look to me because I was trying to exude authority in order to get respect and stuff like that. And, you know, it's like psychological and everything. But it wasn't who I really was. And when I was talking to them, there's this, sometimes they would go, "Somebody smells like weed," because they were teasing me. Obviously, I had been very careful not to smell like weed. The panic button would just go crazy in me. Holy shit, they know. I would have to be a stone, poker-faced. You wouldn't believe the things I was challenged with. But I had to help those kids, you know. And this was a system that I had to cut through to help those kids. And sometimes I was an instrument of the system, and I didn't like that. But I just made it as a humane a process and respectful as I possibly could for them, and respected them, and talked to them, and said, "Don't worry, you'll get past this. Don't worry, don't panic. Just tell your story." You know, I don't know about those kids. I know a lot of adults didn't want to fucking put people through that, but this was. You're obviously getting in trouble in school for some reason because you ain't on track about something. But partially that's our fault because we allow all this circus to go on. Drug dogs coming in, licking out of the drinking fountain. I was never so angry in my life when I saw this person leading the drug dog and letting him up to drink and lap out of the kid's drinking fountain and lick all over it. You couldn't get a cup for the dog. So disrespectful. I became completely without, from the point where DARE started until the point where I started working in high school with challenged students, I became completely indoctrinated in the war on drugs. I looked around at teachers that were telling kids things that I knew for fucking sure was not true. And it was horrifying to watch. You are an instrument of the government and you don't have a right to say anything. It got to the point where, the health department had sent around the cigarette, van that they send around to the schools to talk about don't smoke, it's bad for your health. Now I'm all for this. So I'm here with some students as their security guard, making sure that they don't act up as we're going to tour this bus that's parked in front of the school. We go on the school bus, and it's a walk-through bus with these images on the walls of don't smoke, black lungs, bad for your teeth, get cancer. I look at the back wall, and there's a whole wall about vaporizers. And I knew exactly what the fuck I was looking at. A lie, another lie, a new lie. I knew that a lot of my kids were kicking cigarettes because of vaporizers. That having owned a vaporizer myself, you're not going to own it very long because you get sick and tired of sticking the battery in the USB. You know, I mean, you own it, but recharging, major pain in the ass and a turnoff. Okay? These kids on their little skateboards, they have enough trouble worrying about charging their phones. They don't need an extra battery that they got to plug in over the wall socket at Vaughn's or the liquor store while they're skateboarding by. Yeah, that's what really happens. I knew this was a lie, so I said it out loud. That's a lie. I said it in front of the teacher. I said it in front of the class. They began to give me an argument, and I said, no, these are perfectly safe. There is nothing wrong with this. It is not damaging to your health. They did have hookah pipes up there, and I may question that. But I thought this is, and I said, this is somehow big tobacco. I don't know how this is big tobacco, but I know this is. Somehow, this is a crooked deal because these vaporizers are not bad for your health. They are going to help save lives. This is, if my grandparents had had this, they wouldn't have had to suffer a lot of emphysema shit they had to go through because of cigarettes. This bullshit, what they were saying. So I was like, okay, this is it. And I started to blog about some of the things I was seeing on my job. And I was thinking, I really can't do this. It's not appropriate. there's a lot of people with their careers and their families wrapped up in education, and they honestly believe that they're doing the right thing. And letting them out on the rails like this is not, it's not, you know, began to have conflict. By this time, I was a medical marijuana patient. I began to have conflict. I'm working in the school district, and now I can't say I'm a medical marijuana patient because I'm working in the school district. I'm putting my hair up at night, right? And I'm putting this sheriff thing cap on my head because I'm scared to death that my hair is going to smell like pot smoke because I have to go to school and bust kids for weed. I have to work with drug dogs. I have to help conduct searches. I have to work closely with police. And I think what they were doing was right for the circumstances we were under. But wholly overall, it was horribly wrong. It was a horrible situation to be in. Karmically, I was just absolutely horrified. I was just conflicted. Okay. So I wanted out. You know, we needed the money. My husband's mom was going through cancer. We didn't know if we were going to lose her or not. It's not like, you know, we're completely impoverished, but we needed the extra money to help us through all the difficulty of getting through that. And we wanted the security. But I wanted out. Plus, it was terribly violent. I had to break up fights. I got hit in the back of the head. Yeah. Kids can be, they get very upset in the gangs and stuff. There was a lot of blood. I'd done it for 9 years, so I was at the point of burnout once again. And plus, I got good at it, and I was getting bored. And I saw this marijuana revolution coming, and I was, by God, going to be part of that. And I knew also that I couldn't allow myself to be tied to anybody at my work. And I was about to out myself in a big way in the town I live in, and I didn't want to hurt them in their careers. And they still have to work in the place where prohibition is a wellspring, you know. So I left. I just dropped everything and quit and left. You know, we talked about it, and it was time to retire, and I retired. And after I retired, I gradually formulated a plan to come out and fight for legalization and fight publicly on the internet. And then I got the courage to take photographs of my pipe, which is something you would have never done before because you would have been terrified you would have been tagged, located. Today, fucking, there's like a show. Here, how to smoke from a bomb. Here, how to make brownies. Here's me. This is me. You should come watch me live. Smoke with me. A hell of a thing. It was a stupid fight. It was the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It was like the Starbelly Sneakers. It's a plant. Oh my God, I can't believe we went through this the whole time. People's families being ripped apart and in prison, the most ridiculous nonsense in the whole world. All these arguments, families being torn apart. You know, my marriage was not exactly, you know, accepted in our family because I am a stoner after all, and that was not like welcomed. It was considered a weakness. And it's like a horrible joke. Ah. But it's a nightmare that's ending now.